evening and welcome to Premier League Live on this Wednesday night as we watch Arsenal take on Manchester United at the Emirates. An Arsenal side hoping to get their title charge back on track tonight after what has been a non-perfect start to the season. A Manchester United team with their first real big test under Ruben Amorim. 3 games without a defeat for Manchester United, something of uncharted territory in recent times. But Ruben Amorim has got them firing so far, and this is the biggest test, one of the biggest tests for him in his early career at Manchester United. Already this evening there are 4 games in the Premier League underway, including one that will get off at 8:15 alongside us as Aston Villa take on Brentford. But so far this evening, Everton are 2-0 up against Wolves at Goodison Park in that battle at the bottom of the table. Manchester City without a win in 7 games in all competitions and lost 4 in the bounce in the league, but they're 2-0 up against Nottingham Forest at the moment. Newcastle starting well against the league leaders Liverpool, they lead by a goal to nil, and Chelsea so far making easy work of Southampton, 3-1 up, and Southampton have had a man sent off as well in that one. Not a great start for the Saints, or really any of the teams towards the bottom of the table. So a bit of a mix-up in the Premier League this evening, and we're hoping for more of that here in North London. Let's have a look at the teams then for tonight's game, starting with the home side, in which David Raya starts in goal. A back 4 of Jurrien Timber, William Saliba, Jakub Kiwior and Alexander Zinchenko in a bit of a swap-swart Arsenal defence. A midfield 3 of Thomas Partey, Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard, the captain, who's been in blistering form since returning from injury. And a front 3 of Gabriel Martinelli, Bukayo Saka and Kai Havertz leading the line for the Gunners. On the bench, Neto, Tierney, Heaven, Jorginho, Moreno, Sterling, Nwaneri, Trossard and Jesus. For Ruben Amorim and Manchester United, Andre Onana starts in goal. A back 5/back 3, of course, of Dalot, Mazraoui, De Ligt, Maguire and Malacia, who starts once again. Fernandes and Ugarte seemingly taking up those middle roles in that 4 in midfield. Fernandes, of course, the captain, and a front 3 of Mason Mount, Alejandro Garnacho and Rasmus Højlund leading the line for United. On the bench, Bayindir, Yoro, Kukonke, Casemiro, Ahmad, Rashford, Anthony, Eriksson and Zirkzee. A new system at Manchester United, a new regime at Manchester United, a new era at Manchester United, whatever you want to call it. They take on an Arsenal side who've come as close as they've ever been in the last 20 years to a league title in the last few seasons. They're hoping to go one step further, but one of their biggest rivals have passed, who they've certainly been in many title races with over the years. They stand in their way at the moment. Kick-off at the Emirates between Arsenal and Manchester United is on the way. A very good evening. Welcome in to Premier League Live. Alongside the left-hand side of your screen, you'll get goal updates from around the grounds of those early games that kicked off at 7:30 are about to go to half-time, but we will have that Aston Villa game against Brentford getting underway at the same time as us this evening here at the Emirates, so a bit to keep an eye on, plus all those second halves as well later in the night to keep you up to date with. Arsenal in their home strip, of course, red and white. Man United in that navy blue away strip this evening for this trip to the Emirates. And there's been a lot of goals between these two sides, 3-2s and 3-1s over the last number of meetings. The only game that kind of staves that in the last 6 was that 1-0 win back in May for Arsenal at Old Trafford. But there's certainly goal fest between these two over the years. We're hoping more of that this evening as we get underway at the Emirates, as North London forever rings around this iconic stadium in North London. And this team that really haven't had it all their own way this season and trying to go for a title for the first time in over 20 years. Our Arsenal, it's not been all plain sailing for them. I'll be hoping a big win tonight can reignite that factor as real title challengers, and possibly bringing back that illustrious trophy to the Emirates. Here's Garnacho, who couldn't keep the ball in there on that side of the field. Well, Ruben Amorim has an interesting win over Arsenal over the last number of years, beating them as sporting manager. in the Champions League, of course, knocking Arsenal out of the Champions League round of 16 a few seasons ago. So there's certainly that factor to add into this one this evening. Kivior spreads it out to Martinelli early. De Ligt comes across and makes sure he gets nowhere with that, Martinelli, and just a throw in for Arsenal in these early moments. Of course, we will keep you up to date with the scores around the ground, so any goals and action we will certainly keep you up to date with, and we'll tell you about all the goals that have gone in so far during the half times and the full times a bit later on, when we round up all of this evening's action for you a bit later on. Rice, Partey, back to Saliba. And one thing for Arsenal would be early doors that Ruben Amorim's Manchester United love scoring early in games. They scored inside 90 seconds against Ipswich, scored even earlier than that against Bodo Glimt in that game at Old Trafford, and then put 4 past Everton at the weekend. So certainly been a really positive, bright start to the time at Manchester United so far. But as I said in the opener, this is Man United's first big test, really, away at the Emirates, one of the title challengers, one of the top teams in the league. What have you got on show? What is your manager going to do for them this evening? What can you deliver in this big game? Here's Zinchenko in that inverted fullback role. Swings it out to the right hand side, but a good header by Malacia. Stretched by Mazraoui, finding Fernandes, but well closed down by that Arsenal midfield. And here's Odegaard, gives it straight back to the United here. An interesting system, of course. Ruben Amorim, well aware that his preferred system is the 3-4-3. That is the system that Man United have adopted since his first game. There's no idea of adjustment to suit these players, but suit his system. And so far, as I said, it's gone well for Manchester United. Here's Onana under pressure by Arsenal. Good pressure as the ball comes back to Kai Havertz, and it's put into the back of the net by Martinelli, but the flag is going to go up. Onana forced into with a long kick, intercepted by the midfield. I think it's Zinchenko. Yeah, wins it back. First time ball. Havertz is just offside as he rolls it back to Martinelli. And it's pretty simple, but he was in an offside position. But good pressure by Arsenal initially, forcing into the long kick. Poor kick by Onana, and then winning it back, but the offside, of course, catching them out as Mason Mount tries to get United on the front foot. Here's Dalot. Midfield to Ugarte. Back to Maguire. Across to Mazraoui. Starting on the left side of a back three this evening, Nasser Mazraoui. Maguire, the central centre-back of a back three, and then De Ligt on the right-hand side of that. Malacia at left wing-back and Dalot at right wing-back for Manchester United. Here's Onana. Back to Harry Maguire inside his own box. Arsenal insisting on that high press early on. It's Mazraoui. Has to go back to his keeper again, and Onana goes long on this occasion once more. The bouncing ball was threatening for Højlund, and Mount does well to nip in and win a free kick off Thomas Partey. Decent start for Manchester United so far. Of course, as I said, that last meeting between these two in the Premier League is that 1-0 win for Arsenal in May at Old Trafford. Leandro Trossard with the first half goal that settled the victory. Maybe a bit nervy at times from an Arsenal point of view, but the victory was all that mattered in that late stage of the season to keep the title race going. And that they did. Here's Malacia. Now Garnacho has to come back in field to Maguire. Very compact midfield area at the moment. De Ligt has to go out wide to Dalot on that right hand side. Back to De Ligt again. Right, Maguire into the half space, finding Ugarte on the spin, and Fernandes a bit loose in possession, gives it away to his opposing captain in Odegaard. Now Havertz off the left hand side, looking for runners, can't find any, has to turn back to Zinchenko. Now back to Kivior and across to Saliba. Timber. Back to William Saliba and all the way back to David Raya in the Arsenal goal. And although Manchester United haven't had a great start to the season, of course, Ruben Amorim getting his first Premier League win as the United manager at Old Trafford at the weekend, and a 4-0 thrashing of Everton, albeit self-admitted by Ruben Amorim. The scoreline kind of flattered Manchester United in the end, and said that his players could play a lot better. And when you look at the stats, that was probably the correct assessment of the game, to be fair. Everton were poor at the weekend. Nice ball down the left for Martinelli to chase, and Dalot just kind of chests it out for a corner. Takes no risks there. The right wing back of United. And an early corner for Arsenal. Something we know that is certainly a lot of ammunition in this Arsenal team from set pieces. It's one of their fortes in attacking, as they all trounce to the back post and keep Man United guessing for this ball to be whipped in from the left hand side. Of course, Declan Rice will take from that left hand side. Be an in swinger, right footed, all to the front post, and it's headed wide by Partey. I don't think he really had time to try and adjust, but good cross by Rice across the front post, and the ball just dips at Partey at the front post. All he has to do is try and knock it past Onana. It just comes off his right shoulder. No time to adjust to try and head it towards goal, and big let off for Manchester United, really. No one getting contact on it and allowing the Arsenal player at the front post. All the contact in the world, but not quick enough reaction times there from Thomas Partey. Let him down. It's played by Fernandes into Malacia down the left hand side. Højlund making a run in behind. Rasmus Højlund seen away by Kivior. Out wide again to Garnacho, up against Saka. Garnacho tries to spin away and turns back to Mazraoui. Maguire. Right, Nasir Mazraoui. At half times in those 7:30 games, so all of those games now at the half time interval. Everton 2-0 up, City 2-0 up, Newcastle 1-up against Liverpool, and Chelsea 3-1 up against 10-man Southampton. And still 0-0 in that game at Villa Park as well between Aston Villa and Brentford. Villa 8 games without a victory now in the Premier League. Aston Villa, so a real tough spell for Unai Emery's Clarets, villains, whatever you want to call them. And Brentford, who have just 1 point picked up away from home this season, considering their home record. Chalk and cheese, home and away, are Brentford. And Villa will be hoping that record continues tonight at Villa Park, which is an 8:15 kickoff alongside our game here at the Emirates, so they will be more or less in sync this evening, with those other 4 games ongoing. Will be around about 35-45 minutes ahead of us. Here's Zinchenko into Odegaard in space, and what a reaction Odegaard's had since coming back from injury. You know, all the talk when big players come back, just ease them into the side, kind of get them a few minutes. Maybe they'll start showing after a couple of games getting back, but Odegaard hit the ground running since returning from injury, and probably as the captain knows that's maybe needed from him. Here's Saka, looking to deep cross it to the back post. Martinelli was there, but Dalot got it away. As Højlund tries to make the most of that challenge with Saliba. Garnacho comes away with it. Now Mount. Garnacho again. Good interchange of play by United. Sustaining the possession comfortably there. So far, it is actually Man United. They've had more possession in the first 11 minutes. 60% for the visitors. The home side's 40%. Without a shot so far in the game. Now the team in navy blue. It's great to really analyse Manchester United now with this new system. Not often you see it in the Premier League anymore. A 3-4-3 or even a back three of any sort in the Premier League. The top sides in the league all play back fours, albeit auxiliary back threes, with one of their fullbacks usually going into midfield or pushing further forward. But more often than not, that out and out back three with wing backs is rare enough now in Premier League football. As Mazraoui spots an open pass to Højlund, and a lovely turn by Mount, but just couldn't find the ball out wide to Dalot, and well intercepted by Declan Rice. Of course, Rice and Mount, of course, on opposing teams, but best mates, of course, outside of football, as we learnt from their West Ham and Chelsea days. Here's Saka, chips it away from Malacia, tries to cut back with it, does well, does Saka. Malacia there with him, squares it across. Here's Saliba, or Timber, sorry. Now Zinchenko looks to whip it in, but too much from Zinchenko. Nowhere near Havertz, and Saka wasn't anticipating. And United can easily just let that go and get the goal kick. It's a good opportunity, good option by Zinchenko, but no one on the same page as the Ukrainian. And Arsenal's attack came to a pretty stubborn halt. United taking excessively long from this goal kick. Not looking to keep the tempo or the momentum in the game. Arsenal fans getting a bit riled up that Onana's taken an age to kick the ball out and kicks it straight back to the Gunners. Havertz trying to apply his presses. Fernandes hooks it clear. Højlund trying to break in behind. Lovely turn by Højlund. Trying to find Mount, but in the cover was Zinchenko. And recovers back for Arsenal. Oh, wasteful ball by Raya. Intercepted by Mazraoui. Now Fernandes. Mazraoui. There's a bit sloppiness from both teams in possession so far. Neither team really able to sustain possession for long periods of time. If the most of their possession is with each other's back defences. I was going to say back fours, but Man United aren't playing the back four, of course. With each other's defences has been where they've had the majority of the possession. Further up the field, it's been harder to come by. Oh, here's Malacia down the left. Again, has to turn back to Garnacho. No one beyond him. Into Fernandes, who wants to go for the option for the outside ball to Garnacho, who chests it down well, but Timber gets back in and blocks off that pass, and I think the last touch might have been off the Arsenal defender. It was, so through into Manchester United down the left hand side. There's Ruben Amorim watches on, calm and cool on the sideline. It's going to be a real tough task for Ruben Amorim, of course. The long string of managers that have fell by the wayside, a lot of accomplished managers amongst them that have failed to get Man United back to the top over the years. All started with David Moyes more than 11 years ago now. Since the start of that 2013-14 season, Moyes was sacked by Christmas. And 5 managers down the line were at this point Ruben Amorim, as Arsenal try and squeeze it in behind there with Odegaard, but Mazraoui got there first ahead of Havertz. And Arsenal will get the throw in from that United clearance. Ruben Amorim will know this will be no easy job, taking charge of a Manchester United team that seemingly have sorted out all their issues, or quite a few of their issues, off the field. Got their ducks in a row, higher up above the players and the manager and the coaching staff, but That's where the focus needs to be now. Getting a Manchester United team competitive in the Premier League, at least competitive and chasing top 4 before they worry about any sort of Premier League titles. And that's Ruben Amorim's first job. It's making this Man United team competitive. Maguire. So far they've been competitive in this game. In the first 16 minutes. Mazraoui, nice ball by Garnacho. Over the top, looking for Ugarte, but Mount couldn't gather it, and Zinchenko nips it away, and Martinelli tries to break past Fernandes, who gets back in and does well to put it out for the throw-in. It's another good thing for Man United. They've kind of controlled the wide areas in the early moments. Haven't really seen much of the Arsenal wide players using their blistering pace. Not really seen much of that so far from the Gunners. Early stages, though, in this one is it's given away by Havertz a bit cheaply. Here's Garnacho trying to break down the left. Not with massive intent, to be honest, as Maguire's out there too. Here's Fernandes. A lack of options there, and a bit of reluctancy for Man United there as they broke free, pressed Arsenal into giving the ball away, but didn't really want to blast on a counter-attack instantly. Just seemed like they would rather have got themselves up the pitch and kept the possession. So Højlund again tries to chest it, but nicely intercepted by Partey. Timber turns back to Saliba. Well, before any of our midweek games, Arsenal find themselves 9 points behind the league leaders. A gap that they really have to start clawing back, albeit not even halfway through the campaign yet, and still early doors for any sort of bunting or banners for title champions. But 9 points, it's all about Arsenal just gaining that consistency which they've lacked this season at times. Drop points as many times as they've won so far this season. Almost as many times as they've won, sorry. 7 wins and 4 draws and 2 defeats. 6 times they've dropped points. Højlund was making that run in behind again, but Raya quick to assert the dominance and clear the ball away from danger. They're certainly not getting it all their own way in possession tonight, Arsenal. Here's Mazraoui. Nice switch ball out to Dalot. Again, no real runners beyond him, and just plays it straight back into midfield for Ugarte. Fernandes rolls it back to Harry Maguire. He will try and target a ball over the top, Harry Maguire, but Dalot's run easily dealt with as Zinchenko just headed straight back to his keeper pretty comfortably. Well, Arsenal, in their weekend fixture, they certainly had a goal fest at the London Stadium. 5-2. All the goals, all 7 of the goals scored in the first half of that game. Arsenal were 4-0 up inside 36 minutes. Gabriel, Trossard, Ødegaard from a penalty spot, and Havertz all on the score sheet. West Ham got 2 back at a quick succession with Wan-Bissaka and Emerson, but that Bukayo Saka penalty just on the verge of half-time in that game really put the game to bed and give Arsenal a pretty comfortable second half where they could just manage the game really and no real need to exert themselves. One of a number of times they've put quite a few past West Ham on West Ham's own turf. Remember the 6-0 a few seasons ago. And Declan Rice's first game against his former club, scored against the Hammers that occasion. Did Declan Rice, and certainly offered a lot. And has been one of the star men for Arsenal in that midfield. That's a nice challenge by Saka. Ødegaard breaking with space. Out to Saka, heavy first touch, but rolls it back for Timber. Looks for the cross, blocked by Fernandes. Corner to Arsenal. Much better urgency from Arsenal. Man United just a bit lethargic in the middle, taking their time on the ball, and Ødegaard spotted it kind of entice the press. Saka nicked the ball away in midfield and trying to link to get Arsenal on that break quickly. And they get a corner out of the situation. This time from the opposite side, from the right-hand side, which Saka will take. But, of course, Thomas Partey had that real glorious opportunity, let's just say, from the front post in the last corner. See what they can do from this set piece. Saka to deliver from the right-hand side. Left-footed. Whipped across, and Onana punches it away. Odegaard keeps it alive. Saka on the right-hand side. Gets to the byline. Chips it across with the right boot, and Partey over the top for a goal kick. Again, good play by Arsenal. Get the ball into the middle, into that mix zone, but Onana came and commanded. Punched it away with real dominance. United keeper has had a great start to the season. Most clean sheets of any Premier League goalkeeper this season is Andre Onana. And then Arsenal sustained that pressure from the second phase of the corner, whipping the ball in again, but a poor header by Partey that time and just went behind for a goal kick. We have a goal in our other 8:15 kickoff at Villa Park. I said Brentford had picked up just 1 point on the road this season, one of the worst away records in the Premier League this season. Well, that away record is not getting any better. Aston Villa have taken the lead. Unai Emery's side needing a victory at the moment, 8 games without a win, and Morgan Rogers has given Aston Villa the lead after just 21 minutes. Watkins setting up Rogers, and Villa lead at Villa Park. Aston Villa 1, Brentford 0. Aston Villa sit in the bottom half. They're actually below Brentford as it stands at the moment. Before that goal, actually, before kick-off this evening, they're actually a place below Brentford were Villa, but they can go back above them. And as it stands, they would be going back above them and up to 8th place in the table. At the moment, Aston Villa on 22 points, and just a number of points outside the top 4. So a win this evening, albeit without 8 games without a win, but a win this evening would get them right back on track for Villa. 3 of our 4 early kickoffs back underway for the second halves at the Etihad, at St James's Park and at St Mary's. Still to get back underway at Goodison. As Saka making that run in behind. Malacia has his work cut out. Saka still alive as he wins the corner off Mazraoui. Just seems like Arsenal are starting to up the ante a bit. United may be struggling to keep to the pace of the game slightly. Again, it's good play. Partey has time and space in the middle. Just goes for that ball over the top inside the wing back and the centre back, and the bouncing ball, Saka deals with it better than Malacia, sustains it around that kind of the byline, and Mazraoui coming across to cover over, puts it out for the corner, which is Arsenal's 3rd corner of the game. As I said, Arsenal just seem to be growing in confidence and growing in control of this match now. Saka to take this corner. Once again, left-footed delivery. Fizzed across. Onana couldn't get to it. Falls to Zinchenko, and the follow-up is behind by Martinelli. Just wide. Again, Man United not dealing with the second phase well enough. Right on the goalkeeper. Couldn't get near it. Maguire tries to head it clear. Malacia, poor physicality in his own box. Beaten by Zinchenko, who takes it down, tries to shoot, deflects back out to Martinelli, who kind of curls it but whips it too far wide. And that is a goal kick to Manchester United. Again, those set pieces, all 3 corners, Man United haven't really looked massively solid. The first one, Partey had a free header that he missed at the front post. The second one, they really couldn't get it clear, and Arsenal sustained the attack. And then the third one there, again, not commanding, not dealing with the situation in the second or third, even the third phase of the set piece. A couple of deflections, and Arsenal had a good few chances from those moments. Something to really hone in on for Ruben Amorim so far. A goal in the game at St James's Park for you. Newcastle maybe looking to cause an upset to the league leaders Liverpool this evening. Well, The league leaders are where they are because they know how to fight back, and Curtis Jones has got Liverpool back on level terms. Up in the northeast, it is Newcastle 1, Liverpool 1. Salah with the assist and Curtis Jones with the leveller. Here is Odegaard. Into Martinelli, back to Odegaard in tight spaces, and wins the free kick off Mason Mount. Referee this evening, Sam Barrett. Just dealing with that situation and calming all sorts of tempers there that may have arisen. Certainly tempers have flared in this fixture in previous seasons. And there's been tempers flared quite historically, of course, those iconic moments in the tunnels of those big games years ago. Time's gone past where these two were battling for the title, and what a fierce rivalry it was then. Sam Barrett, as I said, is our referee. Our VAR this evening, Jared Gillett. Just to keep you informed, so far Jared Gillett has not had anything to do so far, really. Touch wood. Keeps it easier for us. Here is Partey. And a spread out wide, a bit loose as Malacia intercepting. This is Man United's opportunity now as the rain comes down in North London. Here comes Malacia, still going down that left-hand side. Out wide to Garnacho. Cuts back onto his right. Gives it back to Fernandes. Not eyeing up the cross, I've noticed a couple of times, Manchester United this evening. Not willing to whip a cross in. As they come all the way back with Mizraoui. Garnacho. Seems to be Man United, when they win the ball back, they're not quick enough to try and get the way through Arsenal. Arsenal flood the bodies back and the gaps are not there. They get back into shape, and Man United just seem to look a bit bewildered as to what happens next. And that's been a similar theme for them all season. You know, before that Everton game, they'd really struggled to score goals this season, and that was one of the biggest keys to the downfall of Erik ten Hag, the fact that they couldn't score. I mean, bring you back to that game at just before Erik ten Hag got sacked, his last game, when his team missed all those chances against West Ham. They could have been 5-0 up at half-time against against the Hammers in that one, and really they failed to take any of those chances and ended up losing the game. In the end, that's the struggle for Manchester United. Here's Saka in the box, a cross. Oh, not really dealt with as Onana has to kick it away for the corner, but again, a bit lackadaisical for Man United in their own box there. Saka up against Malacia. Malacia sends him to the byline. He whips it across. Maguire kind of chests it away. Strange cross way of dealing with a cross there from the Man United centre-back there. I mean, I don't even know what his adjustment is. Just booted away. Bizarre. Puts Man United under pressure again, and Onana has to kick it out for the corner. Crosses and set pieces seem to be Man United's kryptonite so far. As Arsenal took the free kick, the corner a bit too quickly for the officials' liking. A few more goals to tell you about as well. We'll get you to those goals in a moment after this Arsenal corner. Jam-packed full of goals this evening. We are the only goalless game out of any of the 6 so far. Saka to take this corner then on the right hand side as we are around about the 30-minute mark. Left footed delivery again, into the box it comes, and Onana, comfortable gather in the middle, watched it all the way and got both hands comfortably on that ball. Goals, as I said, to tell you about. It's looking good for Everton, who conceded 4 against Manchester United at Old Trafford at the weekend. Well, they're on course to try and score 4 tonight. They're 3-0 up. Craig Dawson with an own goal has extended Everton's lead at Goodison. Everton 3. Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. Wolves in a lot of trouble, it seems, early in this campaign under Gary O'Neill. And another goal at Villa Park to tell you about. Brentford compounding that terrible away form. Ollie Watkins from the penalty spot has doubled Aston Villa's lead. So does Aston Villa 2, Brentford 0. The rain is really pelting it down here now in North London. Another interesting, intriguing little aspect to throw at this game. That's good pressure by Arsenal, closing Man United in, although United win the throw, but that intense press keeping them at the right area of the field from an Arsenal point of view. Dalot with a throw, up in the air by Højlund. Rice trying to deal with it, but nicked away from him, although the header from Højlund to flick it on was poor and out of play for a throw, as Ruben Amorim watches on his haunches on the sidelines, a bit bemused, a bit confused to what he's saying, I think, at the moment. I think Mikel Arteta sharing that with his team at the moment, a bit frustrated so far, has Mikel Arteta. Another goal at the Etihad to tell you about. It looks like that 7-game winless run for Manchester City after that battering at Anfield on Sunday. It might be coming to an end this evening. They are now 3-0 up against Nottingham Forest. However, I'll hold my tongue, because the last time Man City were 3-0 up in a home game, they drew 3-3, so you never know. But Jeremy Doku has their third goal, and they look to be comfortable at home against Nottingham Forest. But still a long way to go. Lovely ball over the top by Garnacho there to take it away from his defender. Saliba's tracked him all the way, and just the presence of William Saliba put Garnacho off, and he put it out for a goal kick. Run out of room, did the Argentinian. Well, I did say these two have shared quite a game, quite a number of goals in their games over the previous seasons. In 5 of the last 6 meetings, there have been at least 4 goals to share between the sides in the head-to-head. Arsenal have 3 of those victories, Man United with 2, but the only away side win in this fixture came back in May when Arsenal won at Old Trafford. The previous 5 meetings have all been home wins on those occasions, dating back to, of course, the game in November 2020 when Arsenal again won at Old Trafford. The last time Man United have a win here at the Emirates in the Premier League, you have to go all the way back to December 2017 for Man United's last victory here, and that was a 3-1 win, and they were down to 10 in that game, where Manchester United, just to hammer it home who scored. Jesse Lingard scored a brace, and Antonio Valencia scored in that game as well. And Paul Pogba was shown a red in that one for Manchester United. That was their last victory here over 7 years ago. Tidy in the midfield there between Fernandes and Ugarte. Now Dalot. Another goal to tell you about at Villa Park. It seems to be a real romping for Aston Villa this evening. Just as Manchester City and Everton are at home, Villa have now gone 3-0 up. Brentford falling by the wayside on the road once again, and Matty Cash with the third goal as Villa cruising in the first half at Villa Park. And just over 10 minutes to go in the first half here at the Emirates, and it seems to be a bit of a cagey affair so far. No major clear-cut chances at goal for either team. No shots on target so far. It's been one of those games where both sides have cancelled each other out in the early moments. Just really struggled to sustain the level. And that's what's seen both managers on the sidelines cut frustrated figures in this first half. So they try the ball in behind again to United, but nice defending by Kivior, who gets his way past Højlund. Bit of a makeshift Arsenal defence this evening, of course, with Timber playing out at right back and Zinchenko, of course, returning at left back, and of course Kivior and Saliba, not a partnership that we're accustomed to when watching Arsenal. So far, so good for that Arsenal defence. Here's Timber. Out to Odegaard on the right-hand side. Back to Urian Timber. Thomas Partey. As the ball comes out to Saka. Trying to link up with Timber, but a bit loose in that pass. And United nick it away. It's Garnacho pushed over by Saka on the halfway line. And a free kick to Manchester United. Here's Garnacho. Looking for the switch ball. Does find it to Dalot. Now Mount. Back to Diogo Dalot. Has to turn back though. To De Ligt and now Maguire. Again, lack of forward options in and around the box here for United. They just have to turn back with themselves. Again and again. And that long ball over the top is right back to David Raya. There's another surrendering of possession for the visitors as Arsenal almost gifted it back there with Rice winning the battle against Mount, but just barely. Just about. We have another goal to tell you about, and another big goal at St James's Park. Arne Slot has had a bit of a comfortable start to time at Liverpool, albeit some big opponents and those big wins against City and Real Madrid last week, but a big test in the northeast. Well, the talk about St James's Park being that big tester for teams, well, so far it has been for Liverpool, because they've gone behind once again for the second time tonight. Liverpool trail, and as Newcastle 2, Liverpool 1. Anthony Gordon, the Scouser, and of course the former Everton player, giving Newcastle the lead once again. It's Newcastle 2, Liverpool 1. With around 25 minutes to go in those games that kicked off at 7:30 this evening, so still a bit of time to go, but those games starting to take a bit of shape in the latter stages of those halves. Saliba into Partey in the middle. Has to turn back to Saliba. Foul there on Urian Timber. It's Arsenal free kick, fouled by Nusir Mazraoui. Free kick to the home side. Saka. Back to Odegaard. Now back to Saliba again. Well, don't forget, this isn't the only game from the midweek set that we have live here for you on LFS. Tomorrow the midweek fixtures come to a close as we are on the south coast as Bournemouth take on Tottenham at the Vitality Stadium. Another 8:15 kickoff for you tomorrow, and also Fulham Brighton is also an early kickoff tomorrow evening to conclude this midweek bumper set of fixtures in the festive period. Partey, Saliba. Out wide it comes to Martinelli. Rice applying that extra body forward, but Martinelli looking for the cross and just a bit too low. Easily gathered by Onana. Havertz was at the back post, but Martinelli just a bit of a curler. Not much pace on it really, and a simple gather for the Man United goalkeeper, who, as I said, has the most clean sheets of any Premier League goalkeeper this season. He has 6 clean sheets. Mount. Back to Mazraoui. Out it comes to Malacia on the left-hand side. Let's turn back to Mazraoui again. Less than 5 minutes to go in the first half, and still we sit in a period of limbo in this one. Both sides really not taking it to the other at the moment. Arsenal certainly trying to. You can see there's a kind of massive intention there, but at the moment it's just not sticking for Arsenal up the field, and struggling at the moment I was about to tell you that there was a fourth goal, at St James's Park, and I was going to tell you that it was going from bad to worse for Liverpool, but seemingly it has changed on my screen and it's now back to 2-1. It was going to be 3-1 to Newcastle. Liverpool with a lot of problems in the northeast at the moment, but at the moment that goal has been disallowed and the goal will not stand, so it is still 2-1 to Newcastle, but it could have been worse for Liverpool. Maybe some swapping around needed to be done by Arne Slot if his team are going to get back into this game. Garnacho went down there. He's helped back to his feet, but Man United have got a free kick in Arsenal's half. Let's see what Mason Mount can do from the set piece here for United. One of their first promising ones of the game. The ball spun to the back post. Maguire gets his head on it, keeps it alive, but headed away by Rice, and Mount will shoot, but should have argued against that in his mind, although it's kept in by Maguire, and the follow-up by Dalot is wide. The camera just cut away, thought it was going to go for a goal kick, but Maguire kept it in at the back post, at the byline. It kind of curls back into the field, tries to cut it back across. It's not comfortably cleared away by Kivior. Back to Dalot, who strikes across goal, but just swiped away from that left post and behind for a goal kick. But probably the best attacking move for United in this game so far. Saliba pulled and hauled at there by Mason Mount, and he won the free kick. Now Zinchenko. Lots of updates to bring you from around the grounds. Everton thought they'd scored a fourth against Wolves, looking to return the favour that Manchester United put past them at the weekend. But no, that is not the case. It is still 3-0 to Everton, but it looks to be getting better and better for them, the Toffees, this evening. And I can tell you there is an update from St James's Park. I did say that there was a fourth goal a bit earlier on, and I thought it was going to be a third for Newcastle. Well, you can guess what's happened. It's gone the other way. It's swung back, and Liverpool are back on terms once again. And for the second time this game, Liverpool are on level terms. It is 2-2. What a game at St James's Park. Mo Salah this time with the leveller. So goal and assist once again for Mo Salah for Liverpool. Still, we get our first goal here. Well, there was a yellow card, by the way, while I was updating you on things elsewhere. I didn't actually see who got the yellow card, but I will tell you in a moment. As Arsenal come forward here with Timber. Bit of a heavy touch. It falls the loose ball. Saka was trying to stretch for it, but Mazraoui got in the way. And now there's a foul on Malacia. So a free kick for Manchester United. It just seems a bit edgy and tetchy and a bit anger everywhere at the moment. Temper's flaring. Yeah, Timber's kind of went in for the ball. Malacia slid in, and Timber had the right to go for the ball. Didn't win the ball, but it's a good challenge by Malacia, and then the follow-up is what got him the free kick from Saka's foul. A yellow card, I think, went Ugarte's way. It did there, for waving the imaginary yellow card at the referee. So a booking for the Man United midfielder, a bit of a silly one, but there was another yellow, which I'll get to you in a moment when I do have that information for you, as we're coming up to the additional time at the end of the first half here at the Emirates, and it is just the one add-a minute to tell you about. So one add-a minute. I can tell you Tyrell Malacia was the one that got the yellow card initially for a foul a few moments ago. And the second yellow card, of course, from Manuel Ugarte for that fictional yellow card that he tried to brandish to the referee, which got him a yellow, of course, which is the rule now. Here is Ugarte baiting the throw-in out of Declan Rice. Throw for Manchester United, but again, a lot to assess at half-time for both sets of coaching staffs and both teams. A lot of adjustment, maybe improvement needed from both sets of teams to try and open the scoring, to try and get something in the final third, because so far it's been quite lacklustre from both. So far, set pieces have been their biggest threat and biggest route to goal, and that is the half-time whistle. At half-time at the Emirates, it is 0-0. A game that has been cagey at times. It's been very tight between the two teams. It's been sloppy, it's been loose. But so far, set pieces have been the most probable route to goal for either team. And so far, neither have made it count. Half-time in North London at the Emirates. It's Arsenal 0, Manchester United 0. Analysis for the first half on the way, and an update from around the grounds as well. Still to come. Welcome back to Premier League Live. Half-time between Arsenal and Manchester United. It is 0-0. The only goalless game of the night. And so far, every other game has had all the action, all the drama. We've had a very cagey, tetchy, angry affair in North London. Both sides really letting their tempers flare and get the better of them. But lacking quality in the final third of both teams at the moment. Really lacking that initiative in the final third to find those spaces, find those gaps, and really break the deadlock so far. But let's run you through what we've seen from our midweek fixtures so far. Yesterday there was two games. Ipswich taking on Palace and Leicester against West Ham United. Let's just recap those games for you. Crystal Palace with only their second victory of the season, heading to Portman Road and coming away with 3 points. Jean-Philippe Mateta with the only goal of that game for Palace. A much needed win for Oliver Glass and his side that took them out of the bottom three and 3 points clear of the bottom three after last night's victory. Leicester themselves doing a lot of work to help them up and away for Ruud van Nistelrooy's first game in charge last night for Leicester. A 3-1 win against West Ham, albeit West Ham had 31 shots in that game to Leicester's 8. Leicester had 7 big chances though compared to West Ham's 5, so a lot of the stats went in West Ham's favour, but not the scoreline, and it looks like Julian Lopetegui might be on tenterhooks, on a cliff edge at the moment at West Ham. Just 3 wins from their first 14 Premier League games of the season for West Ham. Last night, as I said, Jamie Vardy opened the scoring after just 2 minutes, giving Leicester the lead. Bilal El Khanous doubled their lead after 61 minutes before Patson Daka got a third and certainly wrapped up the victory in the 90th minute before Nicholas Fulker got an all but consolation goal in the 93rd minute to get West Ham a goal, but nothing else out of the game. Two huge defeats in a matter of days for West Ham has them in real trouble at the moment. That was their 7th defeat of the season last night. A real poor start to the campaign for Julian Lopetegui's team. 4 wins, 3 draws and 7 defeats from their first 14 league games. 27 goals conceded. There is only two teams now in the Premier League that have conceded more, and that is Leicester and Wolves. Really not good reading for West Ham United at this moment in time, and Julian Lopetegui in a bit of bother at the moment. To tonight's games, and there's all this action still ongoing. The 4 early games: Everton against Wolves, City against Forest, Newcastle, Liverpool and Southampton, Chelsea are all in the latter stages of the second half, around about 15 to 20 minutes to go in all of those games at the moment. These are as it stands, so they may change while I talk. And that first one that you see, Everton 3-0 up against Wolves, well, that's just changed this last second. It's now 4-0 to Everton. A massive, massive result, or massive scoreline anyway, at least at the moment. For the Toffees. Ashley Young opened the scoring after just 10 minutes, giving Everton the lead. Ora Mangala then doubled Everton's lead after 33 minutes, and then in the second half, Craig Dawson with an own goal got Everton's third, and the fourth has just been scored. We're yet to find out the goal scorer for that one, but it is Everton 4, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, and even worse for Wolves at the moment. They sit second bottom of the table in a lot of bother, on the bearing down the face of their 9th league defeat of the season. Just 9 points this season so far for Wolves, and they look in a real bit of bother and a tough spot at the bottom of the league. Right, to the result, or the scoreline, sorry, at the Etihad this evening, where the champions and the holders of the Premier League, who were thumped at Anfield on Sunday, but they're looking to end that 7-game winless run this evening, and that run of 4 successive league defeats are coming to an end, it seems, this evening. Bernardo Silva gave them an early lead after just 8 minutes. Kevin De Bruyne got their second just 31 minutes into the game before Jeremy Doku added a third into the second half. It is still 3-0. City are pushing for more, looking to conclude that victory and wrap it up to get 3 points for the first time in a matter of weeks for Manchester City. The longest winless run of Pep Guardiola's career could be coming to an end tonight, it seems. So 3-0 there to St James's Park, where it has been the closest, the tightest, and probably the best affair, shall we say, in terms of battle this evening between Newcastle and Liverpool. At the moment, still a feisty affair as I'm watching it here on my screen. Keeping an eye, it's end to end, both sides pushing, probing for that late goal that could give them all 3 points. Alexander Isak gave Newcastle the lead after a poor start from Liverpool, really, in the game. Isak giving Newcastle the lead. Liverpool then equalised just into the start of the second half through Curtis Jones, set up by Salah. Isak then turned from scorer to provider when he set up Anthony Gordon to put Newcastle back in front. Newcastle thought they'd scored a third, thought they were 3-1 up. That goal disallowed by VAR or on the field, whatever one, but it was disallowed anyway. And Mo Salah turned provider to scorer and set up by Trent Alexander-Arnold to get Liverpool back level. That is where we stand at the moment, with around 10 or so minutes to go at St James's Park, but I'm suspecting that is not the end of the scoring tonight, as Liverpool come forward, and Diaz and Nunez trying to go for it as well, just as I watch, and coming ever so close at both ends there. And the final game that kicked off early this evening has changed since I first spoke to you on this update. It is 4-1 now to Chelsea. 4 of those 5 goals coming in the first half. Axel Disasi gave Chelsea the lead after just 7 minutes. Joe Aribo then levelled for Southampton after 11 minutes. And Nkunku then gave Chelsea back the lead after 17 minutes before, in the 34th minute, Noni Madueke gave them a bit of headroom at 3-1 up. Jack Stevens then got a red card for Southampton in the 39th minute for violent conduct. And now Cole Palmer, who'd have thought it would be Cole Palmer? Of course it would be. Only the second fastest Chelsea player in Premier League history to get to 30 goals for the club, and that was his 30th goal at the weekend in that result against Villa. And he's got his 31st for the club this evening. And is now 4-1 to Chelsea. As I said, 0-0 in our game between Arsenal and Man United. And at half-time in the game at Villa Park, it is Aston Villa 3, Brentford 0. Brentford's terrible away form looked to be continuing, just 1 point from their away games this season. A real poor result. 6 games played away from home, just 1 point for Brentford. Only Southampton have a worse or the same record as Brentford, and that looks to be getting even worse this evening. 3-0 down at half-time. Morgan Rogers set up by Watkins for the first. Watkins then from the penalty spot got the second, and Matty Cash getting the third, as Villa cruising at the break. Right, that is the way we stand around the grounds and from all of our midweek games, and we've 2 still to come as well. Tomorrow night we head back to West London, at Craven Cottage on the bank of the Thames, when Fulham take on Brighton, and Bournemouth from the seaside as well, another seaside, as Bournemouth take on Tottenham later tomorrow evening. And that is our game that we'll be watching here in LFS, an 8:15 kickoff at the Vitality Stadium as well. Right, the second half between Arsenal and Man United is about 5 minutes away, and basically just to round up that first half before we take a quick break, and I'll keep you up to date with the scores as we're here and waiting at the moment. But really, to summarise that first half, as I said in the half-time chat, it was really cagey at times. Both sides lacked that kind of quality in the final third. Arsenal's best chances, and Man United's to a standard, best chances of scoring have come from set pieces. Arsenal from corners, Man United from that lonely free kick. I mean, every time that Man United came forward, it just seemed like they lacked the movement in the final third. Oh my God, Mo Salah's come ever so close to giving Liverpool the lead. But Man United struggling to have that extra body in the final third. And every time they came forward, got towards the end of the Arsenal box, and they just looked up and looked clueless as to where to go next. There was no movement, no bodies running in behind. There was no options in the middle, no crosses. They really denied themselves, really lacking crosses in that first half. Didn't want to cross the ball for love of their money, did Manchester United. Arsenal just looking a bit sloppy, a bit kind of off it slightly. That frustrated Mikel Arteta in that first half, and I think a bit more improvement from Arsenal. They maybe could take control of the game. Maybe a bit through that first half we saw that a bit better from Arsenal, where they were kind of somewhat kind of taking control of the game and starting to control a bit more possession. But again, it was mostly set pieces and corners they were getting from those moments, and in the end it really came to nothing. But that's been the story of the first half at the Emirates so far. Arsenal coming forward, not getting anything but corners. Man United coming forward and getting absolutely nothing in terms of that. I'll just update you on the stats from the first half at Old Trafford as Liverpool again toying around the box at St James's Park, and Mo Salah has scored. Liverpool lead at St James's Park. Mo Salah, 2 goals and an assist for the Egyptian tonight. I'm not commentating on this game, but I just have it on as we're half-time. And what a game at St James's Park. A thriller in the northeast. Has Liverpool leading after trailing twice in the game, having to come from behind twice, and now they lead in the northeast. Great work in and around the box, and Salah on the turn. What a finish from the world-class forward. One of the best the Premier League has ever seen, and that is a wonderful finish. Fabulous spin into the far corner with a strike. Really good play from Liverpool. Anyway, second half in our goalless game in North London is on the way in just a moment. Arsenal 0, Man United 0. Do stay with us. Welcome back to Premier League Live, second half from the Emirates. On the way in just a moment. Lots of goals around the grounds elsewhere this evening. Just trust it to be getting the 0-0 at the moment, but surely there's going to be goals in the second half between Arsenal and Manchester United. There always is, as I said. 5 of the last 6 meetings, there's been at least 4 goals in the game, so I'm expecting a flurry in the second half. They're stealing our goals everywhere else at the moment. 2 games at big 4s, a couple of 3s elsewhere as well, you can see there. So some big scorelines around the grounds at the moment. But here, so far at the Emirates, I can tell you what's to come then. Tomorrow night, Bournemouth take on Tottenham, a Bournemouth side in a good run, in good form at the moment, under Andoni Iraola, at the moment in a good position in mid-table. Tottenham, if they win tomorrow night, they could, as it stands, go into the top 5 and would go ahead of Brighton if they were to take victory on the South Coast tomorrow night. But of course Brighton are also playing tomorrow night, so that's all conclusive. But Spurs looking and would be looking to move themselves up the table after they again did that whole Spursy thing of losing at home to Ipswich, winning away at Man City, and then drawing at home to Fulham, 10-man Fulham at the weekend. That is Tottenham for you in a heartbeat. And that is what we saw at the weekend. We will see them in action against Bournemouth on the road tomorrow evening. 8:15 kickoff as well. Right, back here then at the Emirates, the players emerging for the second half. As I've just seen another goal. I've just seen the goal at St James's Park again. They're showing at the replays here on this feed, which is decent to see. Like, subscribe, turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. That'd be greatly appreciated. Great to have you with us this evening on the road to 25,000 subscribers. It'd be great to have you with us on the journey, and thanks so much for joining us this evening so far. Anyway, considering we haven't got a goal fest so far here at the Emirates, it was built up to be a goal fest, but there's still a second half. We still have that belief that there can be goals in this game. Certainly so. If both sides get their attack flowing, there are certainly goals in these teams. Most certainly so. Just hope we get them, of course. And let's see. Certainly got the two big names, and we'll be hoping for big goals in the second half as we get underway for another 45 here in North London. As I said, a cagey affair in that first half, and neither side really getting into their groove as Arsenal try and thump a long ball over the top initially. Maguire comes across and blocks Martinelli in his path. Just needs a bit more energy in the game. And maybe that could be the kind of congestion of football this season that kind of is playing a part in this, maybe. The fact that, albeit Arsenal were actually in action on Saturday evening, Man United in action early on Sunday. And that's pretty why we've seen a few changes in the United team, a few changes to the Arsenal team as well, just rejigging their teams. Of course, in this festive period, it does get tight, it does get close. Zinchenko tries to go for the early cross this time, as Rawi with a clearance, and Mount chests it down to Ugarte. Fernandes turns back to his defence as De Ligt clears, but nice ball forward, and one for Mount, that was there, Dalot, sorry, to chase, given away, back to Arsenal. Partey gives it straight back to United. Now Fernandes can turn back the other way and get United forward. Down the left hand side it comes with Garnacho, trying to drive into the box and goes for the cross. Højlund was lurking, just a bit ahead of the Man United number 9. Really good initiative, keeping the ball moving. That's what United failed to do in that first half. They got into the final third and kind of turned back on themselves. This time we saw a bit of movement, a bit of pace in the final third, which they have in abundance. Man United, and Garnacho's cross just that little bit ahead of a centre forward, but a very good opportunity and a very good move. It ends in an Arsenal goal kick, of course. Another goal to tell you about on the south coast. We'll get there in a moment, because here comes Martinelli arriving into the box. Gabriel Martinelli, deflection, charged down by Maguire and into Onana's hands. A fifth goal for Chelsea against 10-man Southampton, so it's cruise control for the Blues. Jadon Sancho with that goal, the former Man United player, of course, has got hit a goal there. It's 5-1 now for Chelsea, and another goal in that game at St James's Park. What a goal fest we have in the northeast. Liverpool behind twice, leading now 3-2. Well, they're leading no more. It is 3-3. What a game up in the northeast. An absolute flurry of goals, and that was Fabian Schär in the 90th minute. They're into added time now. You wouldn't rule out another for either team in that one. It is 3-3 in that game. What a game. Here is Ødegaard. Partey. A bit of energy about both teams at the start of this second half, which is what we need. Ball over the top, Timber across, cuts it back. Ødegaard in the box, not given the room. Rice with his shot over the bar. And it will be a corner, so there was a deflection on the way through, but much better from Arsenal. Moving the ball with more intention, much more zip, much more pace. Keeping the United defence moving and finding those gaps in the little spaces, and Rice with a strike blocked by Mount. Bit of a deflection that carried it over the bar. A corner, to Arsenal. But much more energy about them. Nice running behind by Timber. The cut back to Odegaard, who didn't decide to force the shot. Cuts it back and opens up a chance and gets his side of corner. Rice, who won the corner, will take the corner. Left hand side. Right footed delivery, in swinger. Oh, all the way across the front post, not fully cleared by Garnacho. Saka trying to keep it alive. Plays it back to Zinchenko. Wants to spin it out wide. Saka again. On the right flank. Back to Odegaard. Odegaard with the ball into the box. And trying to jump for it was Martinelli. Kept in by Rice. Cleared away by United again, but good pressure from Arsenal. But the foul is going to be given against the Gunners there. A foul in the box. As De Ligt is down. Bit of an issue there. Injuries to centre-backs has been Man United's kryptonite over the last season or two. And they'll be hoping not another one this evening, considering they are playing with more in that area, as De Ligt just gets back to his feet. A bit slowly, but he is, as he has to go on his haunches again. He can't come back on the field just yet. He's just off the side, so he's going to receive treatment here, Matthijs de Ligt. He looks in a real bit of pain. Man United taking their time with the throw-in, or from the goal kick, and Sam Barrett trying to restore a bit of order is the referee. I think Harry Maguire has been booked here because he threw a second ball onto the pitch and the referee deemed that as a delaying move. So Harry Maguire has been booked. Joins a couple of his teammates in the book of the referee, Ugarte and Malacia, alongside Maguire now, all yellow carded for United this evening. De Ligt is back to his feet again. He's certainly not comfortable at the moment and has to go round to the side of the pitch to re-enter the action after receiving that treatment. Man United trying to delay as much as possible until they get their centre-back back. And there he is, back on the field. Here is De Ligt. Hooks it long. Højlund in behind, but easily, comfortably mopped up by Raya. Gets his team forward. Martinelli missing the header. Bit of initiative about the team so far. I did fail to mention to you, by the way, actually, there was a substitution at half-time for Manchester United. Ahmad came on, so he's playing right wing-back at the moment. And Tyrell Malacia was taken off, so Malacia off and Ahmad on. And here is Ahmad breaking into the box. Good challenge by Kivior. And Zinchenko. Kivior now hooks it clear. De Ligt with the chest. And turns it round the corner for Harry Maguire. Well, as I said, the last time United won here against Arsenal was in December 2017 when they won 3-1. At the moment, they're in a bit of bother. Need to hang on a bit more here. As Odegaard given away, or gets it forward to Martinelli, Into the box it comes, looking for the corner. Wins the corner, does Martinelli. Off Matthijs de Ligt. Another set piece for the Gunners. It's their second corner of the half. Their 6th overall. Let's see what Arsenal can do from this set piece. Don't know how many times I've said that now this evening. So far they've been threatening, but not able to take their chances from those corners. Man United haven't looked the most convincing. Let's see what Rice can deliver. Again, it will be another in-swinger. Right on the goalkeeper. Oh, and it's gone in! I think it might be Jurrien Timber, who's flicked it on at the near post. And Arsenal and their corner technique does bear a bit of fruit against Manchester United. I said United didn't look comfortable defending those corners, and at the 6th time of asking tonight, Arsenal make it count and deliver from the corner. A threatening corner as they all emerge from the back post again. It's as common as they come now. And I think someone just bobbled a head up in the middle. Let's see. Rice with a delivery. Wonderful whip ball. Beats Fernandez and Hoyland at the front post. And I think Timber might get a slight nick. The tiniest of touches it would be if Urian Timber did get a touch. He did. And will be his goal because he did get the touch. But United with 2 players on that front post failing to deal with that situation. And Urian Timber is the one that gets Arsenal their lead. It is Arsenal 1, Manchester United 0, and only what Arsenal have deserved from those corners so far. Beautiful delivery. Wonderfully worked set piece. That's why they are the best in the league from those positions. And now they want to compound the threat. They want to push on from this moment now, Arsenal. A couple of final scores coming in. Man City have ended that 7-game winless run after beating Forest 3-0. Liverpool have dropped points for only the 3rd time this season away at Newcastle. Maybe second best tonight, but they got a point out of that game. Have Liverpool 3-3 it finished in the northeast. Just finished on the south coast as Chelsea put 5 past Southampton. 5-1 for Chelsea at the moment. That is just finished. Just one of those early games to conclude. That is at Goodison. And the 2 late games as well ongoing. And now the deadlock broken here at the Emirates as Rice chested in behind. Nicely done. Havertz cuts it back. Odegaard rolling in the box, trying to spin away. But body's in the way. And United just about get it clear of danger. I think it's a moment now more than ever that Man United just need to hang on in there. Arsenal have smell blood at the moment. And I think changes are going to be made here by Ruben Amorim. A triple change incoming, it seems. He made 1 at half-time. And I think he's going to make 3. Just 10 minutes into the second half. Looks like Xerxes, Rashford and Lenny Yoro are the 3 that are going to be coming on in a moment. Here's Dalot though. Down the left-hand side. Looking to whip one in himself. Away by Saliba. And out for the United throw on the left-hand side. Here's Mazraoui. Mount looking for options. Switches the ball out to Ahmad. Nicely chested down by the young winger. Testing Arsenal. Back to De Ligt it comes, and De Ligt's ball easily mopped up by Kivior at the back. As Arsenal send it long. Final score at Goodison as well. Everton 4, Wolves 0. So by the same scoreline they were beaten at the weekend. Everton beat Wolves in midweek. Tale of all the goals coming at once for Everton in that game. Big 3 points for them. Saka, Odegaard, into the box it comes, back to Bukayo Saka, straight at Onana. Again, the fluidity's there now from Arsenal. They've just upped the level, gone to another gear, and Man United seemingly struggling to deal with it, although Odegaard's return ball to Saka was, I think it was just offside, so wouldn't have counted even if I had to find a way past the United goalkeeper. It didn't, and Onana gathered it comfortably in the end. A goal at Villa Park, to tell you. Maybe it isn't game over just yet for Villa in that one. They've failed to hold on to leads before. Well, they're just conceded. And Brentford have got one back against Villa. It is Mikkel Damsgaard with a goal. It is Villa 3 at Brentford 1. You never know. You never know. It's improbable, but it's not impossible in that one. You can feel the energy around the Emirates now. That goal has just lifted the crowd on what has been a wet, damp night. As Man United make their changes, Rashford has come on. I'll tell you the full changes in a second for you. Harry Maguire is going to make way. This is the big one. Harry Maguire off, and Lenny Yoro is coming on for his first appearance in Manchester United colours. Of course, joined in the summer, was injured for quite a lot of time, and is now coming on to make an impact from the bench for United. As I said, 2 other changes as well in the process. Mason Mount and Alejandro Garnacho also leaving the field, and they've been replaced by Marcus Rashford and Joshua Zirkzee, who both got braces against Everton at the weekend. Here's Fernandes. Looking to switch the ball out, but Martinelli on the cover. Wins it back for Arsenal now. Rice. Charging forward down the left-hand side, beating a marker. Now to Martinelli off the left-hand side. Trying to find Rice again, but coming across comfortably was De Ligt in the way. Another Arsenal corner. It's really a tough spell that Man United need to really make sure they do not concede a second. Otherwise, this game could be taken away from them really quickly. As we around about the hour mark here in North London. Rice with a corner from this left-hand side. We already know that Man United can't deal with these situations. Can Arsenal compound that from this set piece? Rice to deliver again. And a moment actually, because there's a bit of bother in the middle that the referee has to sort. The rain is still teeming down here in the capital, as Højlund and Saliba are getting a quick talking to by the referee, who is smaller than both players, so it's not the most commanding of messages from the referee, to be honest. Certainly not tiring over either player there. But all is well in the middle now, so corner can be delivered here by Declan Rice. Whips it in again, the near post targeted again, and Zirkzee got a head to it at the front post, and I think it was cleared away at the back post as well. But again, not comfortable for United again from that set piece. Zirkzee could have headed it into his own net there, and I think it's just flicked around the corner by Ugarte. Ever so close. I don't think Arsenal really need to do much at the moment from those pieces. Just whip the ball in, and it just seems to be chaos for United. They've got no way of dealing with this at the moment. So open, so vulnerable from these opportunities, these moments. This is where Arsenal need to make a count. Saka to deliver from the opposite side this time. Bit more of a whip to this one, to the back post, as Martinelli couldn't really deal with that situation, but he will win the throw off Marcus Rashford. As Mikel Arteta calls for a bit of composure from his team. Not let themselves get carried away. Zinchenko with a throw, and Martinelli forcing another throw in down this left hand side. And clearly Arsenal have responded to whatever their manager had said to them at the interval, as they will have their third successive throw in. Ahmad putting that one out once again, but this seems to be at the moment Arsenal have been so much more energetic in the second half, come out firing, and Man United have been caught a bit cold from those positions. Long way to go though yet, as Zinchenko has to block off a Rashford pass, put it out for a United throw at the halfway line. First goal is certainly, in recent games between these two, not the definitive one, and not the one that decides the winner. Man United have had the lead a few times against Arsenal in recent seasons and failed to hold on to it. And the opposite has also been true as well, as Ahmad down the right hand side. Good covering by Rice to block off the pass to Zirkzee. Arsenal trying to pop it around at the back now. Zinchenko, and Kivior takes no risks and goes long. Bouncing ball headed away by De Ligt. Martinelli with a nice control and turn, but Ugarte's there on the scene. And Ugarte deemed to not have the last touch, and United get the throw. I was a bit bemused by that. It did look like Ugarte kind of bundled it out of play. The assistant didn't agree. The throw in went United's way, although they've surrendered the possession back to Arsenal. And momentarily though, as Arsenal give it straight back. They want a free kick, the Gunners. Party went down, but the referee sees no issues. Hoyland trying to make a run in behind, and good recovery there by Saliba, getting across the block. And it's not only players that transfer between these clubs. The club doctor at Manchester United was the former club doctor at Arsenal, Gary O'Driscoll, of course, who we've just heard is obviously chalked up camp, moved from North London up to Manchester. I wouldn't say it's a coincidence. Oh, it could be a coincidence. I don't want to kind of slander anyone this evening, but it just seemed like Arsenal's big injuries disappeared when their club doctor moved, and Man United picked up a shed load of injuries just as he arrived. Coincidence it could be, but maybe there's something in that. Who knows? At 25 minutes to go at the Emirates, it is Arsenal 1, Manchester United 0. At the moment, Yuri and Timber with that flick on at the near post from that corner has Arsenal ahead, although Ahmad has picked the pocket of Zinchenko, breaking away and pulled back by Zinchenko. And a free kick for United and a yellow card for the Arsenal fullback. Fantastic by Ahmad. Lived up by the United fans as one of their best prospects of the recent era. And Ahmad certainly causing issues for the former Manchester City defender and now Arsenal defender, of course. So a set piece of their own for United, which was the closest that they actually came to getting anywhere near Arsenal's goal in that first half, was really from a set piece. The best they could have offered from the first half. Fernandes to deliver this one from the right hand side. Bit of an interesting position for a free kick. Defensively, you would say it's interesting to deal with. Right footed by Fernandes, into the box it comes, and the header! Good save by Raya. It was Matthijs de Ligt with a header. He rose above everyone in there, and good save by David Raya. He's got Arsenal out of trouble multiple times previously. Had to rely on their goalkeeper quite a lot previously, and making big saves in big moments. And there's another one to add to the collection for David Raya, who had to get Arsenal out of trouble from that set piece. Maybe a bit more confidence about United now. A bit more belief in the team that there is a route back to getting back into this game, albeit only 1-0 down, with a long amount of this game still to come. Lovely ball out wide by De Ligt, out to Ahmad. Into the half space, couldn't find Xerxes as Arsenal clear it away through Kivior. Just see this again, De Ligt adjusting well to keep the pace on the ball and send it towards the goal. Raya, not the best of adjustments initially, not the best measuring of where the ball was going to go. He had to stretch, he was full stretch, and he did get a strong left hand to that ball to parry it away from goal. But big save, a big moment for Arsenal. That's a good header by Saliba. Brought down by Timber on the right hand side. Wants to target a runner in behind, but he completely overcooks that ball to Saka, and a goal kick will come for Manchester United. Well, Arsenal have all 5 substitutions available. They've options off the bench if they are going to need them. Man United just the 1 substitution left after they made that sub at half time, and then the triple substitution around about 10 minutes ago. So just the 1 left for the visitors. All 5 left for the home team, who lead at the moment. Rice, who was going to run his way around his man, but the referees just pulled it back for a foul on Zinchenko. And just as I say about Arsenal substitutions, they look to be readying some players on the sidelines. A bit of movement on the Arsenal bench at the moment. It's Ødegaard, well closed down by Mazraoui. Ugarte. Fernandes, looking for a run over the top. Rashford was lurking in behind, but good header by Saliba. Now Timber comes away with the ball. Timber Beating past Fernandez in the middle, but Ugarte wins the battle against Odegaard. Zinchenko. Xerxes now to Mazraoui. Now Fernandez out to the left-hand side here for Dalot. Has to cut it back to Ugarte. Arsenal just waiting for their moment at the moment. There's a cross from the left-hand side, deflected, but into David Raya's hands. Bit of a lull for Arsenal in the last few minutes. Much more positive for Man United. And the difference of those two set pieces, albeit the exact same moment, the goal for Arsenal and then the one that was cleared away by Xerxes and Ugarte, literally on their own goal line with headers, crucial headers. That second that it went in, it could be a very different, much more comfortable game for Arsenal being talked about here at the moment. But at 1-0, I think Mikel Arteta can feel it, that this game is far from over, far from complete, far from done, and they know that they need to be at their very level best if they're going to keep the level up, and that's why there's going to be a double substitution here for the home side. Leandro Trossard and Mikel Merino are going to be the two that are coming on. And coming off, Gabriel Martinelli is going to be one, and Alexander Zinchenko is going to be the other. So a double substitution for the Gunners. So Trossard will be a straight swap out to the left-hand side for Martinelli, it seems. And then Zinchenko replaced by Merino, so maybe Partey dropping back at left back, I would say, from the midfield, as Merino takes the midfield position and Partey dropping in to cover over for Zinchenko. But of course Zinchenko's been playing that inverted role seemingly in the midfield a lot this evening, as Saliba battling with Rashford. Winning that battle does William Saliba. He strides away with the ball. Saka gets in a dangerous area as it's hooked away by Partey. He's actually gone to right back as Partey, and Timber's gone to left back as Arsenal break forward here. Here's Trossard with his first involvement of the game. Up against Yoro. Lenny Yoro beaten past by Trossard, but a good recovery. Dove in and won the ball back. Now Ugarte. Yoro again. Heavy touch, has to hook it away, but right out to Declan Rice, who has the freedom to shoot, but shot well charged down by Fernandez. Throw into Arsenal on the right hand side. Maybe a bit of a wasted opportunity that from Declan Rice, just forcing the issue when it wasn't really needed. Said he had the freedom to shoot, there was space, options, but really decided to go for the aggressive approach. Odegaard up against Mazraoui in a tight area. Rashford getting back to help out defensively and trying to help out and win a goal kick, but has given away a corner. Good pressure by Odegaard, and the Arsenal captain wants this crowd to get going again. Gets a response from the Arsenal crowd. Fair play to Rashford. One of the big criticisms for him this season hasn't been him tracking back and helping out defensively. He tried there. Didn't work out the way he would have wanted to, but certainly the motivation was there. And now another set piece for Arsenal to take and Man United to defend. The 9th corner of the game for Arsenal. Saka to deliver. Whip ball in, back post. Partey, and it's gone in. A deflection. And it was William Saliba that got the header, and it's come off a United body in the middle, and it's gone in. Another set piece, another goal for Arsenal. They are lethal from corners. Manchester United hopeless at defending them. Time and time and time again tonight, Arsenal have whipped in those crosses, and Manchester United have looked almost hopeless. Just no aggression, no understanding of how to deal with Arsenal flooding the back post. It was, say it again, it was Partey that headed it at the far post, a cross goal, and I think it just deflects off William Saliba. Yeah, he doesn't know anything about it. It is as comical a goal as you will ever see. It comes off the backside of William Saliba and goes into the back of the nets. Back to back of some sorts. Arsenal 2, Manchester United 0. And again, United failing to deal with a set piece might be their downfall once again. Albeit though, VAR having a look. Trying to figure out what of, but so there's an offside here. I don't know where you can get an offside. I mean, where? Where is an offside here? What's that? What's going on? I'm not having any of this. The goal stands, but what was the need? You can't be offside from a corner, and William Saliba's header goes back the way. Or, sorry, Partey's header goes back the way, so William Saliba can't be offside. Very strange. Of course, all goals are checked, but I mean, we didn't need to know that there was a big delay. Play on. Clear as day as a goal. Lovely turn by Odegaard. In for Havertz again. Good save by Onana. They are ready for it now, Arsenal. They want to take this fully away from United now. Beautiful spin by Odegaard. Lovely ball in behind to find Havertz, who made the run. Tried to kind of blast it past Onana, straight down the throat of the United keeper, who does well to parry it wide for the corner. But Arsenal in ruthless form at the moment, and looking to really kill off Manchester United in these latter stages. 15 to go. Arsenal 2, United 0. Now, they usually say set pieces are the difference in tight games. Well, there's no question it's been the difference here tonight, as Ruben Amorim looks to the ground in a bit of disbelief, really, as Rice to deliver. Onana has to tip it over the bar. Those crosses are so dangerous, and Arsenal or Man United just, for nothing more, they just can't deal with it. It's just, at times, it's just indefensible at times. Like that cross, there's nothing more Onana could do there. It was just tip it over the bar, because the cross was so incredible. There was just no way of defending it. And they just had to go for another corner. Into double figures now for Arsenal in corners in this game. Saka to deliver again. And now Marino, just wide. They're switching it up, Arsenal. Man United haven't got a clue in the middle. Free header for Mikel Merino. His marker just runs away from him, really. And Merino just tries to head it down into the ground to the far post. It bounces off the turf and just goes wide of the goal. Arsenal are in kill control at the moment. They're ready to thrash a third in and dead this game in the latter stages. The intensity has been so much better in the second half. They've been much sharper on the ball. They've been much better at breaking up the play, sustaining possession. Everything that we know and see from Arsenal in their title charges in the previous two seasons wasn't there in the first half, but has most certainly been there in the second. And they have certainly been the better side. They've taken the game away from United. I said it at half-time, if Arsenal compose themselves and are a bit sharper, a bit better, they clean up their play, they could take control of this game, and that exactly is as they have in this second half. They've controlled it, they've dominated it, but of course, as we always say, in tight games, set pieces can be the difference, and it's two set piece goals that have Arsenal firmly in control here at the Emirates. Another one incoming, because we've a free kick here for Arsenal on the right hand side. United just setting their back line on the edge of the box. 7 along that line for United, and they're flooding the bodies at the back again for Arsenal as they change that approach, and they come across as delivery in. De Ligt half clears it. Partey keeps it alive. Trossard under pressure, does well under pressure. Timber gets a slight deflection. Trossard with a cross. Away by De Ligt. Timber again. But I think both Trossard and Havertz are offside there, so it's Merino actually. And the flag does go up against Mick Calmarino, as expected. Free kick to United. Still all the same at Villa Park this evening. As I said, Brentford might be on the push back, but so far nothing other than that, just that goal to show for their second half so far. Villa comfortable at the moment, still 3-1. With just over 10 minutes to go. And with around 11 minutes to go here, Man United have made their fifth and final substitution in this one, which has seen Rasmus Højlund leave the field. And coming on is Anthony for him. So the last roll of the dice for Ruben Amorim laid on here at the Emirates. Well, the last time Arsenal won by more than one goal without conceding against United, it was in a 2-0 win back in January of 2020 here at the Emirates. Nicolas Pepe and Socrates were the goal scorers that day. So Arsenal looking to bring back those dreams and those feelings of that game. Ødegaard. Nice Saka. Cuts it back to Ødegaard. Into the box again. United trying to flood the bodies in and block Arsenal in their passing as Saka tries to ride a challenge. Nipped away from him as Mazraoui chips it up to Xerxes. Arsenal, a bit of defending maybe needed to be done here as Rice has to come across and does really well. And blocking any sort of pass from Bruno Fernandes. And back on the ball come the Gunners. It just seems at the moment there is that difference, that gulf in quality between the two sides is really shown in the second half, albeit, again, as I said in the first half, cagey affair, very close, both sides lacking quality. But the gulf in quality in the second half is really evident as here comes Saka again, arriving into the box. Mazraoui, across it comes! And had to be put behind by Lenny Yoro. There were calls of offside there. I think the corner's been given. See it again. Saka holds his run really well. It was Yoro that just played him on. Saka does well getting into the box, trying to square it across the 6-yard box. Trossard was there. He's in the right area, just a yard or two behind the ball, and Yoro stretched to clear it up behind for the corner. Arsenal's 12th of the game. To put that into context, Man United haven't had a corner in the whole game. Arsenal had 12. That's where the game has been won and lost. Simple as that. So far, here's Saka to deliver once again. Left-footed. Way by Fernandes at the front post. One that Man United do deal with. At the 12th time of asking. They dealt with it. Got it away as Raya tried to play a ball forward. Rashford had to go on the cover and head it out for the Arsenal throw. At the moment it just seems to be one-way traffic. Arsenal attack and Man United defend, although that's a nice throw in. And here's Trossard trying to weave his way through. It falls to Ødegaard, charged down by Mazraoui. Not a great header by Rashford as Havertz went down, but I think he is going to be penalised for a foul on Manuel Ugarte. So free kick to Manchester United. Great challenge by Mazraoui from that Ødegaard strike. Body on the line. Really good challenge. A great block from the United centre-back. Here's Lenny Yoro. Back to Onana. Into Fernandes. Rashford. Spun forward, tried to get Ahmad in space, but too much pace on that ball for Marcus Rashford. And a throw-in will go Arsenal's way. As we see the second goal again. Yeah, it's just really poor defending again from United. Front post on the first one, far post on the second one. Not dealing with the situations. Not winning their battles. And that's the difference. Don't forget, one more game to come for you this midweek in the Premier League. We head to the South Coast tomorrow night to the Vitality Stadium as Bournemouth host Tottenham. Bournemouth looking for a place in the top half ahead of tomorrow. They can go into the top half with a win. They would jump up to 8th. They would go above Tottenham if they were to win tomorrow night, Bournemouth. Tottenham can go as high as 5th, depending on results elsewhere, if they were to win. That is tomorrow, 8:15, here on LFS. Fernandes. Into Rashford. Out to the left-hand side for Dalot. Into Rashford again. If United get a goal, you never know what can happen, but they need to find a way and a route to goal at the moment. Just the one shot on target, and he's going to get a free kick here. Anthony brought down around about the edge of the box. Mikel Merino committing the foul, so maybe some sort of hint here that something could be awry. Just the one shot on target so far for Manchester United. Could there be a chance later on for them to get a goal from this set piece? And you never know. You never know. Fernandes is the main man over it. Rashford's there, lurking in and around. So as David Raya sets up his wall, trying to block this as best as he can, or get his wall to block it as best as they can. How big a moment could this be? Bruno Fernandes and Rashford over it. Around about the edge of the D. Just a bit to the left. Anthony's there as well. 5 minutes to go from the 90. Bruno Fernandes plays it to Anthony. A bit of a cute one. Palmed away by Raya. And gathered again by the Arsenal keeper. They tried to be smart. They tried to be cute with it. But Arsenal were aware and alert for that moment. They got well to get it round the corner to Anthony. It was well worked. But they tried to catch out the goalkeeper, tried to go for goal rather than the cross, and Raya was alert. One thing about teams that score goals from set pieces, they seem to know how to stop them from going in. And that was Arsenal there on that occasion as they win it back in midfield with Ødegaard. Now Trossard. On the turn again. And a spin away from Anthony on the cover. Back to Merino. And now all the way back to David Raya. As Ødegaard has to go back. Keep the possession. Of course, at full time, after the full time whistle, we will, of course, bring you a full roundup of tonight's results and who's the goal scorers and how the table looks, as we're almost a full way through match day 14 in the Premier League this season. So do stay with us for that at the full time whistle. As Trossard tried to dart one in behind for Saka. Not anywhere near threatening enough there, and Onana just comfortably gathered. Time is of the essence for Manchester United at the moment. Not only have they struggled to score late goals, they struggle to score goals. And could this be just another one of those games where they've just lacked that, as I think Arsenal got a bit too excited with their press there, and Onana got a bit of a nick. I think he got a foul, just fouled there by Havertz. A bit too keen to win the ball back and kind of caught the right boot of the Man United goalkeeper. It is a foul, and it is a free kick. But as I said, it might just be one of those nights for Manchester United once again, where they're just outplayed by the opponent. Arsenal have been the better side on the balance of things. They've upped the level in the second half. They've gone to another gear, and Man United just really haven't been able to stay put with that. Albeit set pieces will be the headline, of course, the 2 goals coming from set pieces. But I think if Arsenal hadn't have scored from set pieces, I do think they still would have been winning this game. But overall, that could be where the game has been won and lost this evening, and Man United's inability to defend from those set pieces, and Arsenal's ruthless, deadly nature from those set pieces certainly has them in this commanding position. And albeit we've had two interesting goal scorers tonight, two defensive goal scorers for Arsenal, Saliba and Timber. Albeit not done yet. Here comes Trossard. Body's arriving. Trossard wants to go himself. Chops back onto his left. And the shot blocked by De Ligt on Euro there. Corner to Arsenal. See it again. Really good ball over the top by Kivior, I think it was, that played the ball. Wonderful ball over the top. Trossard made the run in behind Lenny Euro. And then De Ligt had to come across as Trossard got a bit greedy, shall we say. Tried to go himself when he had options in the box to pass, and gets Arsenal the corner, as they will make another change, their third change of the night, and it will be their captain, Martin Odegaard, who's going to make way. Certainly been back to his best tonight. I've been hearing how he's been back to top form and performing since the injury, but tonight has been another example of it. I've seen it firsthand, that Odegaard has been one of the main drivers of this Arsenal team tonight, and as he has been since he took over that captaincy. And he's been replaced by Jorginho, who takes the captain's armband from him, and Arsenal have another corner as we about to enter into added time. We'll see that in a moment as Rice delivers again, and a bit of a bobble and off the line by De Ligt. It's like pinball in there. I don't know who it deflected off, but it was two or three players in the middle, and then De Ligt got the clean clearance, but goodness me. Close to a third there from a corner for Arsenal. Saka. Taken away from him, out for the throw. 4 added minutes. See this again. Yeah, it was Onana. He tried to punch it away, punched it right into an Arsenal player. Bobbled back, then hit off the head of Onana. Very lucky there. That could have been calamitous for United. Lack of composure. It's just really naive. Really silly from Manchester United from those positions. So 4 minutes added on, 3 of which still to play. Just seems like this will peter out and Arsenal will just comfortably come away with the 3 points, and it seems at the moment they will close the gap on league leaders Liverpool with that win, a gap that has already been closed by Chelsea this evening, fairly so. We'll talk about that a bit later when we analyse the league table, but certainly getting a bit tighter at the top. A bit tighter, I must add. Touches in the opposition box. Arsenal had 32. Man United just 6 touches in the opponent's box tonight. It's another problem for them, failing to get anywhere. I said it in the first half, and it's pretty continued mostly in the second half. They've got to the 18-yard box and thought, well, what next? They've just had nothing of any sort of threat in and around the box against Arsenal tonight, and I don't think the Arsenal defenders have had too much hard work to do, really. Maybe from wide areas, but not centrally. I don't think Saliba or Kivior have been massively tested at all this evening. And I think that's a bit of a wasted opportunity for United. They've strong centre forward in Højlund and even Xerxes, who had a good performance at the weekend against Everton, but tonight neither of them really had any sort of fear factor to them against the Arsenal defence, who have cruised in those moments. Even so, they're just playing around their own box in these late stages, and toying with Man United at the moment. In possession is that ball by Jorginho is a bit loose to Saka, nicked away by Ugarte. Rashford to Dalot. Fernandes back to Rashford. Dalot on the overlap, but Rashford keeps it for the moment. Back to Fernandes, a minute to go. Well, it will be a first defeat under Ruben Amorim for Manchester United. Said it was their first big test tonight, and it's a test they've seemingly failed, and one that Arsenal have passed with flying colours, it seems, in the end. But in the end, it's not done and dusted. It's not all done and complete. Still very early and a lot to learn from this for Manchester United. A lot to take from the game. Not many positives, but certainly a lot to show that there's a long way to go. Well, what's next for them? Well, Arsenal, they head to Fulham on Sunday at 2 o'clock. They head to Fulham in a London derby before hosting Monaco here next Wednesday. Manchester United host Forest at the weekends. They're off the back-to-back defeats, Nottingham Forest. And they have Victoria Pilsen away in the Europa League next Thursday. So chances to bounce back. But tonight, as the full-time whistle goes, Arsenal up the gear in the second half, and it was a gear that Manchester United just couldn't keep pace with. Set pieces were the headlines once again. Urian Timber with a flicked header at the front post, and at the back post was William Saliba getting involved with a, let's just say, a bit of luck. But nonetheless, Arsenal much, much better than Manchester United in that second half. Just took the game away from their grasp. And as I said, set pieces, which is the most glaring threat from Arsenal. And tonight they've made that threat count in the second half. Final score at the Emirates. Manchester United's winless run away against Arsenal continues. Final score, Arsenal 2, Manchester United 0. And that is the results so far. That game against between Villa and Brentford is still ongoing, so while we chat about the full-time scores in the table, we'll tell you when that one comes to a close. But let's recap then for you. Palace got their second win of the season last night to beat Ipswich at Portman Road. Leicester taking themselves a few points away from the bottom three as they beat West Ham and clawed West Ham back into the mix last night, which has Julian Lopetegui in the balance, on the knife edge in terms of his future at West Ham. Only joined in August, but could be sacked before Christmas. We will see. Everton bounced back from a 4-0 defeat to win 4-0 at home against Wolves this evening. Goals from Ashley Young and Earl Mangala for Everton in the first half, before two Craig Dawson own goals in the second half secured the 3 points for the Toffees. The 7-game winless run comes to an end. It was never going to continue for too much longer for Manchester City as they beat Forest by 3-0 at the Etihad. Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne and Jeremy Doku the scorers for City. That's 3 points and a clean sheet, well needed for Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. Well, it was a tough night for Liverpool. Not clean and plain sailing for Arne Slot's Liverpool. A bit of a tough test away at Newcastle, and a test at which they just about scraped through in. And they were behind twice. Newcastle opened the scoring through Alexander Isak in the first half. It took Curtis Jones to level in the second half before Anthony Gordon, the Scouser, put Newcastle back in front. It was Mo Salah in the 60th minute that got Liverpool back on terms with 2-2, before Mo Salah himself again got Liverpool ahead 3-2 with around about 7 minutes to go. But in the 90th minute, it was Newcastle that would have the final say, and Fabian Schär was the man who got that equaliser, and Newcastle, duly deserving a point on the night, come away with that point, and Liverpool failing to keep their winning run going. But no defeat, still a defeat, no defeats in 17 games now for Arne Slot's Liverpool. Still an incredible run, but not a great night at the office for them. A great night for Chelsea. Suspended players for Southampton, another one coming out of that game that will be suspended. I'll tell you about that in a moment, as Axel Disasi opened the scoring for Chelsea. Joe Rebo equalised just minutes after to get it back to 1-1. And Nkunku then gave Chelsea the lead once again after 17 minutes before Madueke took it a bit away from Southampton, and they never looked back, did Chelsea, at 3-1 up. Jack Stevens then was sent off just before half-time for Southampton to compound their poor start to the first half, and goals from Cole Palmer and Jadon Sancho in the second half secured a 5-1 victory for Chelsea, pushing them up to second, and clearly second. Arsenal 2-0 winners against Manchester United. The scorers Saliba and Timber against Manchester United. Set piece is the difference. And it has just now finished between Aston Villa and Brentford. Perfectly timed, shall we say. As Morgan Rogers, Ollie Watkins and Matty Cash, the scorers for Villa in the first half. And Mikkel Damsgaard, the lonely scorer for Brentford, who have still picked up just 1 point on the road this season. Those are 8 of our 10 games that we've been witness to this midweek. Still games to come. later on this week, tomorrow night, we've 2 games for you. A game in West London as Fulham host Brighton at 7:30 before Bournemouth host Tottenham on the south coast. That is our game we'll have live commentary of here tomorrow night on LFS at 8:15. That is to come, but let's have a look at the table and how it stands then after tonight's bumper night of action. Liverpool still quite comfortably lead the way at the top of the table, just 35 points from their first 14 games. Arne Slot failed to make it be the first manager to get the 37 points after 14 Premier League games, but he's got 35 and it's still got him 7 points clear at the top. Chelsea and Arsenal in close proximity there. Chelsea extending that on goal difference now ahead of Arsenal. Unbeaten in the last 5 now have Chelsea, as you can see from that 3 games on the bounce with a win for the Blues. Arsenal now with 4 games unbeaten, 3-game winning run as well, pushes them up to 3rd. Man City get that long defeat, that 4 games the 4 games with defeats, 4 game losing run, if I can get my words out, comes to an end tonight as they get back to winning ways. Their 8th win of the season, back up into 4th. Brighton drop down at least for now into 5th, but if they win by 2 goals tomorrow night against Fulham, they can jump back up above City. Nottingham Forest losing out tonight and a chance to go into the top 4, losing away at City, their 3rd defeat in 5. Maybe their incredible run at the start of the season could be stalling a slight bit, but 6th is still an incredible start to the season for them. Villa up into 7th on 22 points as well after that win at home against Brentford. A much needed win. 8 games without a win for Aston Villa coming into tonight. Spurs in action tomorrow night. They can jump up to 5th, as I said, if they were to win tomorrow. Depending on what happens between Brighton and Fulham, of course. And Brentford and Newcastle make up the top half. To the bottom half then, if we scroll down and look to the bottom, we'll work from the bottom up. Southampton still rock bottom of the table, 3rd defeat in 4. Their only point in the last few games came in that game against Brighton on Friday night. So just that solitary point they've picked up in their last 4 for Southampton, and just 1 win this season. 5 points sits them rock bottom. Wolves and Ipswich join them in the bottom 3, both on 9 points, and have lost their last 2 on the bounce of those 2 teams after having a good spell of form previously. Palace picking up a bit of form, having picked up points from 4 of their last 5 games. Just 1 defeat in the last 5 for Palace. Sees a bit of an uptick in form for Oliver Glasner's team as they're just outside the relegation zone. First win in a number of games, and a first game for Ruud van Nistelrooy, which got him off to a winning start. After a 3-game losing streak for Leicester, they get their first win under Ruud van Nistelrooy last night against West Ham. That's them on 13. Everton go back above those 2 teams in Leicester and Palace tonight with that big win at home against Wolves. West Ham up in 14th, but they're still in the mix, very much in the mix now with those opponents below them. Bournemouth with a bit of a gap, and they can extend that gap if they win against Tottenham tomorrow. Fulham with that chance as well, still yet to play. They can jump up to the top half. And Manchester United just outside the top half, having lost tonight for the 5th time this season. A loss for United as they sit in 11th. Well, that is it from Premier League Live tonight. We have seen a flurry of goals here this evening. Big wins for Everton, Manchester City, Chelsea, and huge results for Arsenal and Villa. But not a comfortable night for Liverpool, but they still sit comfortable, pretty, at the top of the Premier League table. Bournemouth against Tottenham is our game tomorrow, 8:15. Join us for then. For now, night.